Hey, let's get started. It's almost 12:01. So, welcome everyone. It's Thursday, one of my favorite days of the week. And let's see, today's theme around gratitude has to do with this. I've always been interested in this. Like, there's this process that happens in between us thinking about something like, gosh, I want to be a more grateful person. Or I want to become a more patient person, whatever the aspiration might be. um, there's a moment where we think about it and we sort of set the intention, say that would be a worthwhile pursuit. And then there's a whole bunch of stuff that happens in between that initial thought and then actually gaining some degree of proficiency or mastery at whatever it might be. I think gratitude's no different than that. And just taking a step back and thinking about what is it about the that space in between the initial thought and then the actual proficiency of any skill, like what exactly happens there? And obviously, there's a ton of repetition in there. That's in essence sort of the foundation of what we're doing here is really just creating a structured mechanism to say, let's hold each other accountable, to do positive things repeatedly over and over again. And presumably at some point, something starts sticking. And so the example that I think of is, uh, you know, here's sort of a negative one, right? So let's say you smoke a cigarette every once in a while. It's like you're a occasional smoker at a party or something like that. Does that make you a smoker? Probably not. I think there's some threshold that we cross when you start smoking, let's say on a daily basis, or maybe you start buying your own packs of cigarettes and then you're smoking on the more regular. So somewhere there's a magical threshold that you cross where you go from being someone that occasionally does that to actually becoming a smoker. And so, on a more positive note, the same holds true, I think, for gratitude and forgiveness and kindness and things like that. It's like if I just practice, if I do a express gratitude maybe once a month, I'm probably not really that grateful a person. But if it becomes a real regular thing, then at some point I think it's just become such an integral part of who I am. And so I think there's these 5 steps of becoming, as I call them. And it starts off with an intention. Oh, gosh, I think this would be a good idea. Like I really ought to pay more attention to gratitude in my life and the role that it plays. And then it becomes an action. Okay, today I'm going to do this practice or this meditation, or I'm going to express gratitude to someone. And then you say, gosh, that felt really good. I think I'm going to start doing this more frequently. So we create a practice around it. Now, maybe it's once a day, maybe it's once a week. Again, I don't know where that magic threshold is, but at some point, if we do it repeatedly, then that practice actually becomes a habit. So now it just becomes more natural for us to do it. And then at some point, we don't even think about it anymore. We've just become that thing that we initially set the intention for. So anyway, thinking of this framework for gratitude, I thought it'd be good to just shine the spotlight of some awareness and some attention on where are we in this process, and yeah, let's just explore it a little bit. So start by closing your eyes. Let's right from the get-go jump straight into feeling gratitude for time and space we have to be with each other right now. Got about another 11 minutes left. And just appreciating that we have some space, some stillness. We all seem to have devices that are working well enough in this moment, Wi-Fi or cell, whatever it might be, that allows us to connect. And also some gratitude for maybe something that sort of slightly less obvious, but we all also, for whatever reason, seem to have the inclination to value this and to want to do it. There's lots of people who think what we do here is just a complete waste of time. So there's something really fortunate about being the kind of person that says, no, this is worth my time and energy. Just appreciating that about ourselves. Appreciating breath coming and going. And then let's sort of explore this process of becoming. So the first step is really this intention. Like, what is it about gratitude that makes it a worthwhile pursuit? Just start there and just sit with that question for a moment. Like, what is it about gratitude and the idea of becoming a more grateful person? Why does that matter? What's valuable about it? Really feel into it, right? So this is less of an intellectual process and more of a felt sense of the reason for setting the intention to practice gratitude. This is what it would or could feel like if gratitude were really deeply baked in part of who I am and how I exist. It's what life could be like to get better at this skill, better than I already am. And then from that intention, that sense of purpose, see if you can make a just a quick mental list of some examples of how you put gratitude into action. What are ways in which gratitude becomes a part of your life? How do you express it? Who do you express it to? What are objects or experiences that you feel grateful for? It's obviously not an exhaustive list, but it's just feeling into some actions that you take or could take that would reflect your desire to become a more grateful person. And then thinking about those specific actions, what does a practice look like? By practice, I mean something that is intentional, something that is somewhat regular, I'd say daily. Practice involves some kind of a deliberate, focused, intentional effort on a daily basis. So what might a gratitude practice look like for you? And if you already have one, then just notice the elements of it. Like, when do you do it? How long do you do it for? When do you skip it and why? And then imagining yourself over a period of many days, even weeks, maybe it's a month or more, really sticking with this daily practice, just feeling into what it would be like to begin noticing that this is just becoming a much more automatic part of you. How might that feel? What might it be like to have gratitude just be a much more deeply ingrained part of how you experience life and yourself, others? And then eventually sort of feeling into this experience of having done your practice and for long enough and this really having become a habit, would it be possible if you'd really become the grateful person that you tell yourself you'd like to become? What might life be like? What would it be like to be with your friends, your coworkers, people in your community, most importantly, yourself? Really feeling into what feels good about that for you. Where's the beauty in it? And the cool part about this process of becoming is there's this whole body of scientific research around expertise and habit formation and behavior change that has shown that it really doesn't take that much. It does take a concerted, deliberate effort, and it does take consistency and regularity in order to shape our brain and our nervous system and ultimately our behaviors and our thoughts to orient them in a new direction of our choosing. But it's not something that we're either born with, we just don't have it. It's like something we can participate in. And it can happen actually relatively quickly. Like neuroplastic changes take place over days and weeks. And it's all a question of consistency and frequency and repetition. So just sitting with the possibility of becoming an even more grateful person than you already are. Just getting clear on what that might take. Take a deep breath in through the nose, long, slow exhale through the mouth, emptying the lungs and the belly, and hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Another deep inhale through the nose, slow exhale through the mouth. Make it as long and slow as you can. Slow it down as much as possible. Hold. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Open your eyes. Back. By the way, these the breathing exercises. The rationale for holding our breath on the exhale is I like to play with this with just the awareness that comes from having that experience as we exhale. It feels like, oh my gosh, how much more can I exhale? And you keep going, keep going, keep going. And then holding the breath, I oftentimes notice these somewhat sort of panicky thoughts kicking in. It's like, oh my gosh, I got to inhale. I have to, um, like I don't have enough oxygen. I need to do this. And being able to connect with some sense of equanimity and calm around, like, I know rationally I have plenty of oxygen in my body. That impulse to need to breathe it's a little way of training our ability to just sit with something that may feel just slightly uncomfortable, and just to get used to that place of being calm in the face of something that feels a little compulsive. So anyway, that's the rationale behind that. Hope this was useful. Have a great day, everyone, and hope to see you tomorrow.